I'm Stephanie Van Vark, and thank you so much for joining us again today. I am a small business owner. As you know, we launched Talking Business so we can talk to some businesses about how they pivot and how they shift, particularly in trying times. And I think today's show is going to be very interesting because this woman I've known for a very long time, by the way. I think many of you have. But she's in an industry that I've always felt was recession proof, but now what's happening in the pandemic? So without further ado, let me introduce you to Rory Lee of Makeup by Rory Lee. Hi, Rory. How are you today?
How are you? How are you, Stephanie? It's so good to see you. Thank you for inviting me to be with you today.
Nice to see you. Thank you for agreeing to come. So we'll start with who are you and what do you do?
What do I do? What don't I do?
Right.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm a CEO of my own company. So I'm an entrepreneur and a business owner of Makeup by Rory Incorporated. For many years, I have worked in the television and film industry, editorial, commercial. I started 25, almost 30 years ago, just playing with makeup, helping friends out, doing weddings. And from there went into political campaign work and commercials. And then from there into the music video industry and feature films, and I'm listed on IMDb and they're into, syndicated television, TV networks, production companies, and of course news networks. So basically that is, as a lead artist, that's what I do. I have an amazing, I'm blessed to have an incredible and a talented team to help me with that. I'm also a licensed esthetician. Okay. And 6 years ago, I launched my own makeup line, an organic, natural, clean beauty makeup line that I can use for TV and film, as well as, day to day, with one eyeshadow palette. And now we have an entire collection of products. I'm also a founder and a philanthropist, and with Our Girls Enrichment Program, which is like near and dear to my heart. That's my purpose and passion, to teach young ladies how to understand that their true beauty comes from within. It's not the external that's beautiful, it's the inside, and that beauty comes from the inside out. And so we have a lot of fun with that. So I think that's pretty much
I was about to say, when do you sleep?
Explaining what I do.
That's become the question of the hour. When do you sleep? That's the most important question, for sure. So there's a lot to unpack there, and I'm really interested to know. Let's start with the film and television part. You're a very well-respected makeup artist in the industry, have worked with some people that I know, actually, from all walks of life, on all different types of media. When the pandemic came, that sort of shut down completely. And, I know because I have a gig worker in my house. And so that was good 2 to 3 months with not a lot of work and activity going on. How did that impact your revenue for the year? And not necessarily in numbers, but are you going to be able to catch up from the 3 months loss, and in particular during a time where, in Miami, where film and television is really big and it's really hot?
I know I think back to the last day that I was actually on a TV shoot in a television setting, and that was March 10th. And between March and April, we had a packed out schedule. I mean, we were still coming off of the tail end of working Super Bowl, and multiple jobs that were lined up in March with NFL Films production, as well as other television network and film production jobs, commercial work. We had several, with my makeup line, several huge events, international events, because we just don't work locally and nationally we work globally. Those events where we actually set up and work backstage and get everyone ready, and then also where I'm able to do a pop-up shop with my makeup line. So we had about 4 of those, and then Lifetime TV. They're and working that. So we probably had on the schedule in excess of 25 gigs that were lined up, and not just for myself, but for my crew, because some of the jobs were multiple jobs on one given day. And within a 24-hour period, that's like one thing after the other canceled. And I looked up and I said, "Dear Lord, I know you have us in your loving arms." And I have been down that road in many, many years past, where we didn't know where our next job would come from. And technically, when you work for yourself and when you're freelance from one job to the next, technically you're unemployed. And I just had to.
During the strike, when you referred that you've gone through that before, was that during the film strike or?
Well, that was part of it when all of the tax credit incentives dried up. And large jobs started pulling out, and they had no reason to be here because they were given much better incentives. At that time, Louisiana, people left and to New Mexico and Detroit and Canada. And then, of course, the Atlanta boomed and everybody left there. And I went to LA and I lived there for 6 years and came back because Florida's my oasis. Florida is my home. My mom is here. My sisters are here. My kids, my grandkids, close to the Bahamas, which is where, we grew up. So my roots are there, and being far away was not an option for me.
Okay.
But, going from one job to the next. So we had to become resourceful. But this was more scary because we were talking about life and death situations.
Absolutely. Which brings me to, have you started to plan, plot, ponder what you will be doing now to not only sort of get back on track in this industry, because I now know it's opened up again, but is it possible for you to recapture and reclaim some of the loss at this point, or is 2020 sort of a loss?
I have resolved to say that in the beginning, I thought, you know what, we need to do a reset and start all over again, because no one had expected what would have happened, that it happened. And now I'm thinking that perhaps there's blessings in disguise, and there's, like light shining through the clouds. And this has taught us a time and season of being able to pivot, create sources of revenue, to become creative, and to use the technology and the virtual sources that we have that were being used, but not really being used to the extent that they're being used now. And I was able to quickly pivot my business with a management training and product development background.
Okay.
And an online makeup store. And for the years and years and years that I worked in my business, I never took the time to sit still long enough to work on the business.
Right.
There's a difference working in it and working on it.
Right. I agree.
And it's given me the time to do some quick studying and some quick learning and researching and development. And even though we've been set back, I think it's a setup for a comeback even stronger and better than it's ever been before. I mean, if you would have told me that I would be able to sit still and learn and grow and still take care of my overhead and still take care of myself, being without income for 3 months, I would have told you, no way, Jose. I would have said, you got to be kidding me. I haven't had this long as an adult. I haven't had this long to sit still. I was always afraid to even take a 4-day or a 5-day vacation,
Right.
much less 2 months or 3 months.
And now you can
And
survive. Now you realize you can survive uh, 2 or 3 months if you plan it properly.
I know this minimalistic environment, I'm loving it. I was able to declutter and get rid of things and bless other people with things that I didn't need, and to be able to organize and sit still and enjoy, the fruits of my labor that I have worked so hard to build for so many years.
Mhm, mhm.
It's
So, have you gone back on a set at this point? Have you
no,
been back in the workforce?
no. I've been working, but in a different manner. So I'm
Okay,
doing
perfect.
virtual work. I have TV, film, people that are still in front of the camera,
Mhm,
but because of the COVID situation, there's no large production sets.
mhm.
So I took to taking my training and knowledge virtually. And if you would have told me I could teach someone how to apply lashes or how to do their makeup and not be with them face to face, I would have told you were crazy. And that's what I've been doing, just applying my skill set and transferring those skills to you and other ladies, like across the Zoom and the other Skype and some of the other platforms where we're able to do that. So that has been a safe way for me to support and
Mhm.
stay in touch with my clients. I may not be able to touch your face, but I can still continue to touch your heart
Right.
and encourage and let you know that you can put it together in 5 minutes or less.
Right.
So in that manner, I've been working in the manner of building and providing products to my clients, a lot of self-care,
Mhm.
um,
Okay.
having a skincare specialist background and knowing the ins and outs of being able to take care of our skin. That I've been able to do, virtually, and then, the mail orders that go along with it. But as far as going into a large TV or film production set, which was where, I would say 98% of my work
Mhm.
income came from, that hasn't happened yet. But there's been a lot of, in fact, my webmaster is in the process of updating our site to let people know what we have done
Mhm.
to mitigate, the 4 certifications, the training, the sterilite equipment, the
Right. Right.
cleansing, disinfecting, sanitizing, sterilizing. I mean, there's a lot that goes into, being able to take care of a person and make sure that you're okay and make sure I'm okay.
And I mean, you tap on something very interesting. We're at a state where they're saying you can't even touch your own face. without,
Without washing your hands with
right,
30 seconds.
30 seconds. You're almost walking around like
Myself.
a doctor kind of thing. So, you mentioned, what are some of those certifications, and in particular that the industry is now turning to, because if we're going to go back to a place in time where we're allowing people to do our makeup for us, what are some of those certifications and processes that the industry is now insisting you put into place just to make people feel safe and confident that
Right.
they,
I want
they
I want to feel safe too.
right,
I grew up I
absolutely.
grew up without the blessing of grandparents, and I'm a grandma,
Mm.
they call me Grammy, like Grammy award winner. I have 10 grandbabies.
That's cool.
Yeah, like my 10
That's cool.
grandbabies, heartstrings, they're my legacy. And I want to be there for them.
Right,
I want to be, riding scooters and bikes and playing soccer and playing basketball with them for many years to come. And
right.
so my health and well-being is vital. And I love and care and respect and honor my clients so much so that if I feel like I'm going to be putting myself or them in a precarious situation, I would prefer not to.
Mhm.
You know, I have the liability insurance and I have the training under my belt, and we've always superseded expectations in terms of sanitary procedures as a company, and if you ask any of my teammates, they'll tell you, she's like so germophobic, she's so OCD. And I am. You've worked with me
I
multiple.
have actually. She's very, yeah, she's really.
You know how important it is for us to keep a clean and sanitary environment. But with this COVID situation, it's taken it to an entirely different level. So I feel like the knowledge and the procedure that I have in place supersedes CDC expectations, supersedes the state's expectations.
And what is that policy? What are you doing in particular?
And right. And I will say that it's not just one particular thing. For example, double masking,
Okay.
face shield, an apron on myself, you know, a neck wrapping around the client's neck along with their cape, and making sure that that they're in a sterile environment, that everything has been barbicided down, that they're in, and that there's you know, clean and sanitary space for me to be able to set up, and that no one is coming into that a sterile environment, and I'm not going outside of that sterile environment, and my sterilite equipment is not only sterilizing my my brushes and my tools, but my makeup products as well. So I have a 9% efficacy rate on making sure that everything is sanitized and sterilized. In addition to that, it's very difficult to be a makeup artist or to be an esthetician and to be 6 feet away from a person. I'm more than 6 inches away from a person.
My arms aren't that long.
Right. So, you know, it's going to take, and I don't know where the evolution or where the journey is going to lead us, where we're going to have the huge production sets like we've had in the past. Going to take extra time in between each client to make sure that the second person or the third person, and those schedules are scattered. I've spoken to multiple producers that are planning now to do things going forward, and we're looking at, you know, taking more time to do a job and staggering, no more trying to get 8 people ready in an hour and a half.
Yes, it can't be done.
and it's cost prohibitive to expect for myself or any other makeup artist for that matter to have, you know, disposable makeup, or to have 8 or 10 sets of brushes. I mean, that's outrageous. That's why the investment in the equipment that I invested in. So smaller jobs, you know, being able to do and to be able to control my environment. So if it's a one-on-one client appointment, if it's something that can be prepped with pre-production and done virtually to prepare that person before being with them face to face, then that's certainly an option. But one-on-one, the time in between to clean and to sterilize, the facial process. I mean, the masks, I'm hearing it from multiple people. The masks are really causing irritation and breakouts. And I don't know what, you know, what to say other than the fact that we've got to deep clean that skin.
Absolutely.
With the steamer, we've got to open up the pore follicles. We've got to do what we can to, you know, to make sure that we aren't touching our faces. And like you said, and if we do, that we're washing our hands so that our hands are clean first before we, you know, before we put our hands on our faces, and that whatever is going on our face is something that's going to be non-comedogenic and not clog the pores. And it's going to be, you know, in a way that it's not going to cause any kind of skin irritants.
Okay. So let's talk about the manufacturing part. I have to say, anybody that's in manufacturing is the gutsiest thing ever to me, because that means you've really put the skin in the game. So your makeup, which I meant to have with me, but I forgot to bring with me. I have.
Okay. I know you got it.
I've purchased some Rory Lee, some makeup by Rory Lee, and it's amazing, especially the see, I don't even know how to say
it's
it
okay.
right.
It's all good. I know what you mean.
It's amazing.
It's all good.
How is that going right now? I mean,
we were, you know, my saying that I always repeat to myself is that God's delay is not his denial. Like when we were going to have the Jamaican Consulate was supposed to do their big bridal expo again this year at the Bonaventure in Weston. And because of the travel restrictions, everything got canceled out. So I had this huge launch that I was going to do with some organic lip products, like a hybrid product, because I'm all into doing things that are like 2 or 1, 3 or 1, where you're using one product instead of 2 or using one product instead of 3. So our hybrid organic liquid lipstick slash lip gloss was supposed to launch for the Wedding Expo in March, and then we were going to have Taste the Islands, and we were going to have the Florida Minority Expo, and then there was another huge event that we were supposed to have. And I like trying products on different skin tones, coming from a multi-ethnic background and working globally. So that launch got postponed big time, but it just now came out. So they're on my website now. We just put them up last week, which is fantastic. So there was a delay, and there are some other products that are going to be coming down the pipeline. And we've been growing bootstrap wise, organically, little by little, starting with the one eyeshadow palette 6 years ago. It's not like we have LVMH or Estee Lauder backing us up. I mean, this is like truly a homegrown, made with love product line that's spreading around the country. So another blessing is, because everything is virtual, we're gaining clients in different countries, in different states. Like our makeup line is in Kigali, Rwanda.
Oh, nice.
And
very nice.
Yeah. And so, being able to work with, with the ladies at the Melanin Spa. They have a salon and they also have a spa. But our product line is there, and the women there are just so gorgeous. I mean, Nicole, who's here, her husband's American, but they own it, and her sister's over there working, working in Kigali with, with their 2 locations. But those ladies love our products.
Good. So have you been able, I know you came up with the recipe for the products, but you have a pre-packer, if I understand correctly, that does all the packaging and creating,
we have a
of the product.
Manufacturer. I'm working directly with a manufacturer that everything was shut down with them as well. So
I was going to say, I was like, how did that affect your inventory?
It affected us. It affected us in a sense, but we had inventory, and we had other products that we were able to continue the makeup sales with our store, with the RoryLee.com store.
Okay.
And then you'll see like sold out. I kept sending my IT person, Arlen, who's amazing. I kept sending her messages like, can you mark this sold out? Can you mark that color sold out? I mean, it is what it is. When it sells out, it sells out, which is a blessing. That's a good problem to have, right?
Right, exactly. Because the more people want it, they want it right now.
Right, but our products are made here in the United States.
Okay.
So, and under the utmost of, one of our manufacturers is actually kosher certified, which, you've got to be like super sterile to even have, to have that certification, which is good. But we, our products are vegan, they're organic. The ingredients are organic. They're paraben-free, preservative-free. We've started making a lot of gluten-free products.
Okay.
And, so having the extra time has given me more think time to really think about what's going into the products, the natural ingredients, the natural oils, the plant-based ingredients that are going to be good for our skin, because our skin's a living organ. And, it's important that what we're putting not only in our bodies, but on our skin is going to be the absolute best as possible. So it's given me the time, and it's given the manufacturer, now that they're just now opening back up.
Are they opening back up?
Yes, they're just now opening back up, but on a very smaller scale, a slower production scale, just like, the news networks. I was able to take products, to the anchor, but I couldn't go in. It's like it was delivery at the security desk, and we just, a lot of modifications.
Right.
A lot of modifications have been made.
And have you found that you providing back order opportunities? So I don't have the product right now, but once we get up and running again, we can definitely provide what you're looking for.
Well, for example, we sold out of our mascara, and I know you had the mascara.
Yes.
So that gave me the opportunity because although I loved it and it was, a keratin base, which strengthens the lash bed. And so there's a reason behind everything that I do and what's in what I do. I don't know if I mentioned to you, I have a 5-year chemistry background.
No, you did not mention that.
Yeah, I went to the University of Miami and studied chemistry for 5 years. Not that I wanted to do the extra year. It was supposed to be a 4-year plan. It just took me 5 years to get through it.
Same here. Same here.
I was a party girl my freshman year.
Same here.
So,
I won't judge. I won't judge because I've got some friends who went to college with me on the watching, so I don't want to talk on me
out. Those are stories that I share in confidence with our girls, so let them know that you too can make it,
despite yourself.
Oh Lord! But anyway, so it's giving us the time and
okay.
blessing. We do have the gift of time right now, and so how we've been able to use it is to make sure that the right ingredients are going into everything. So rather than to worry about back orders, I'm more focusing my time and attention onto making things better because it's
the product around.
Yeah, it's a 6-year new company, and
right.
So it's like me,
Exactly. So I joked at the beginning of the show about how beauty is, the beauty industry is recession proof. That actually has sort of bared out in studies, actually, that pretty much the beauty industry can bounce back. I found it very interesting that early on, some of the products that immediately went away were everything from tissue to hair color. It's like everybody was freaking out about hair color. So that to me was an example of, people are really invested in the beauty industry. Are you both excited by the potential of what that means in the industry, or are you a little frightened that this new normal will bring about a sort of DIY dynamic of I could do my own hair, I could do my own makeup, that kind of thing? Or do you think there's just a place for everyone?
I feel like my gift that God has given me that I can pass on to others is the gift of encouraging and enriching the lives of others. And that includes sharing the knowledge that He's given me. A lot of the knowledge that I have today has been downloaded from above to me to pass on to others. If I have 5 talents and I do nothing with those talents but keep them to myself, then I don't feel like I'm a good steward of the gifts that God's given me. Mm-hmm. So I've always been a believer in sharing, and anybody who sits in my chair will tell you that I will share knowledge about good skincare, good skin treatment, what's best for this, what's best for that, how to do this, how to do that. So I love the fact that it's given women the time to focus on themselves, because a lot of ladies they're busy, they're working, they could be moms, they could be executives, they could be wives and girlfriends. And so we have a tendency to pour out to everyone else and to leave ourselves for last. Mm-hmm. So I think that this time of self-care, DIY, self-love is something that's been long overdue, that women need to learn how to care for themselves. And I'm here for them. Okay. I'm always a call away, always a text away, always a Zoom consultation appointment away. Mm-hmm. And so if I have been able to transfer my skills and to teach you how to do your makeup, so when you do these meetings, you look your absolute best. I don't necessarily have to be with you. Mm-hmm. I don't think that my career is ever going to go away. This is a recession-proof business: alcohol, tobacco, and beauty. Those are the three. Those are the 3 recession-proof industries that women have come to realize. Even a lot of my clients who are professionals, they know that they can have the nicest outfit and look great from head to toe, but if their makeup isn't done right, or if their skincare, and it's all about skincare, skin treatment, and the preparation first, But if their makeup isn't done right, then their look is not complete.
Mm-hmm. So
So
there's definitely opportunity for sure.
absolutely.
Good. Good.
I'm honored to be able to share my knowledge and to share, my gift with others. And, they just happen to get me as their gift with purchase.
Good. Somebody just talked about, yeah, alcohol for sure. My cousin, alcohol for sure. That's a man, right? So that's a man. So let's talk a little bit about your nonprofit. I want to make sure we talk about that as well, because you mentioned you are sharing that knowledge. I think right now in the time and the space that we are in, with the civil unrest, there's a lot of conversation around how we're going to improve the economic, um, actually the income levels of primarily people of color, African American people. And I feel like I've always felt like this is one of those industries that can be instrumental in doing that. And you're ahead of the curve in that realm. So talk to us a little bit about what what your nonprofit is about, and how you're preparing young ladies for that opportunity.
It's exciting, and it's a blessing to say that throughout the years, I have supported and encouraged the success of so many young ladies, some in the industry and some have gone on to do other things in other industries. But the fact remains that there's an underlying foundation. There's some basic principles, life skills principles that cross over from one business sector to the other, from one industry to the other. And those foundational skill sets is what I like to talk about, because our Girls Enrichment program, we use makeup because that's my gift. And what teenage girl doesn't like playing with makeup? So we use the makeup as the carrot to convey the message.
Okay.
And I think once a young lady understands that her self-confidence and her self-esteem are directly related, and that the confidence that she has is built up in a humble and a gentle way from within, because once she can look in the mirror, and we've done exercises where I have the young ladies look in the mirror and I give them the little compacts, and I say to them, I need you to look in the mirror and with all sincerity, give yourself a compliment. And I can't tell you how many times young ladies have started crying because they just, when they look in the mirror, they don't see what other people see.
Right. Absolutely. I agree with that.
And to give themselves a compliment, sometimes what happens is it brings up, it roots up the hurt and the disappointment and the sad things that have been encountered in their lives, and the adversity that they've had to deal with, and they feel like they're not worthy to give themselves a compliment. And I speak from firsthand experience. I lived here in the I'm a first generation American, but I lived here in the States, and I also lived in other countries. And one of the things that I realize is that the disparity between how people view someone that doesn't look like them here in the States versus in other countries, there's a huge difference.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been called some crazy things, and so growing up, I didn't understand that I was beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
You're beautiful, Stephanie.
Thank you.
And what happens at the end of the day is that it's irrelevant to how we look on the outside. It's how we feel on the inside that's most important. So that is what our Girls Enrichment program is all about. It's about teaching young ladies that their beauty comes from within. We use the makeup. We talk about basic important things like how to take care of your scalp, the steps, the application order of skincare and skin treatment, makeup, and other life skills, things that are necessary to become successful.
Right.
And those life skills can basically be the foundation and the cornerstones for a person to go out there and to become successful. If you have an idea, that idea came from someone else. That idea didn't come from someone else. I should say that idea came from God, but God gave someone else a different idea. And it doesn't mean that your idea is any less valuable than that person's idea. But at the end of the day, if you don't take that idea and run with it and let it grow and let it manifest itself and let it, then what's the point of you having that idea?
Right. That's true. That's very true.
So, that's where the success comes in. Let's make some money together. There's nothing wrong, being in sales or being a business owner or being an entrepreneur, and you have a product or you have a service that you can share with others in exchange for monetary income. That's listed in the Bible. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, are you ever afraid as an entrepreneur?
I'm sorry?
Are you ever afraid as an entrepreneur?
That's when you have to let your faith kick in, because faith and fear can't occupy the same space. Sure, you can be afraid, but you got to do it anyway.
So go for it.
Yeah, faith or fear. And, that's when I start reciting my favorite, Isaiah 41:10, fear not, for I am with you. God knows we're going to get afraid, but he says, it's cool. I'm with you. Let's do this. And so, yes, absolutely. But you know what? He's never failed me. Has he failed you? He's never failed me. It might not come the way I needed it to come or the way I expected it to come, but he's always been on time and it's always been perfect.
Cool. So tell us before we leave how we can find you, especially for your makeup. Again, I can attest to the makeup. It's amazing. And she's done my makeup before too. It was very good.
Yes.
Pretty. I was trying to represent today. Not quite.
Super easy. Super easy. My name is Rory Lee, RORYLEE. So if you hit rorylee.com, that'll send you to every platform of where you can find me. So I'm on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook company page, YouTube, Pinterest, but just hit rorylee.com and you'll find me, and I'm there for you. And
you use a lot of social media for marketing, correct?
Yes.
I know you do a lot of
goodness stuff for social media, although they've changed the way that they're doing things with the analytics and the digital marketing, but basically that is how we've grown our business. So, it's a blessing that that we've been able to grow organically and not have to spend money that was not there. So social media is the way that I'm able to share, my encouragement, my love, and my products and my services.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us again. I was very excited about this show. We had a beauty expert that was doing hairstyle, but I was like, we definitely got to bring on somebody who can talk about makeup. Thank you.
I'm there for you.
Thanks so much. I'll be calling soon.
Okay. Sounds good. Bye. Thank you for listening, everyone.
So thank you, everyone, for joining us today. I hope you learned as much as I did about the makeup industry. Tomorrow, we will talk to Jamila Ross from Copper Door Bed and Breakfast. That is a bed and breakfast that is here in my beloved historic Overtown. A young couple came in and decided to restore a historic building, and it is beautiful. So you'll have a chance to talk to her or listen to her tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Have a great day.